Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Evans Legacy Financial Podcast. And this is going to be a conversation with my son, Jonathan. In this episode, we kick things off with him. He's a very talented young man with a compelling story of his own, and he's here to help me share my journey from struggle to success, from running away to running towards purpose. I'm going to discuss the motivation behind my podcast. Now, it's not just a show, it's a mission.
Okay, so for those who don't know your story, can you just give us a snapshot of your journey?
Sure, absolutely. You know, I wasn't always the man sitting here talking about legacy and building a future and all that. As a matter of fact, I was talking about just the opposite. You know, I grew up in a single parent home. I actually left home at 13. I became emancipated and legally as an adult. State of California thought it was a good idea to make me an adult at 17 and go out there and fend for myself. And of course, that led to disaster after disaster. And I learned some hard lessons along the way. But there came a point I had to decide, do I keep running or do I start rebuilding?
And rebuilding, that wasn't easy, right?
No, not at all, man. It wasn't at all. You know, it wasn't until I was 50 years old till I actually got I got my stuff together. And, but it was worth it. All of that before me made me the man that I am today. So if you ask me if I could go back and change anything about my past, would I? No, I wouldn't change a thing, because all of that built the man that I am today that I'm going to talk about.
Okay. So why this podcast? Why now?
Well, as I said before, I was in and out of trouble. I was all that. And, at 50 years old, I started a mobile mechanic business. I became a notary. I got my real estate license. And then I opened Evans Legacy Financial, which is helping people build their legacy. And why the podcast? Why now? Well, there's a lot of people out there like me, that came from the same streets that I came from, who feel like they don't have a voice. They've got questions, they've got fears and doubts, or they're just too afraid to ask the question. But I'm here to tell you, there's no such thing as a stupid question.
Okay, so, I'm going to get real for a second. All right, so that confidence I hear and that passion I hear in your voice, how do you deal with negativity? How do you maintain the positive disposition that you have in your character?
Well, don't get me wrong. I don't do it right every day. I don't do it right all the time. But when I get that negative thought coming in, I try. What my recovery of 13 years has taught me is, number one, to play the tape forward, to see what happens if I continue on that negative journey. And I already know what's going to happen. So I stop it right there. I say, okay, what can I do differently? What's the new idea from this? And so what that does for me is it breaks down the barriers of that negative and that positive, and it gets me to segue right into it, right through that barrier, going, okay, no, don't go down that road. You've already been there, or you know where it's going to take you. And so that's really why I'm here today.
Okay. And the questions and the fears and doubts that you're going to address from your audience, you want to hear from them too, right?
Oh, absolutely. If you guys are going through anything, if you've been through it, or you just have a question, you want to know, what is legacy? You want to know what is legacy. Reach out, get a hold of me anytime. I'm here. Evans Legacy Financial is my website, evanslegacyfinancial.com. I want to talk about the stuff that matters, money, legacy, overcoming the setbacks. If you have setbacks, you're not sure how to overcome them, get a hold of me. I'm here for you.
Right. So my next question would be, how can I get involved? How do people get involved? How can they connect with you?
Drop me a line, send me a message, tell me your story. Again, the evanslegacyfinancial.com website has a section at the bottom that lets you connect directly with me. As a matter of fact, in the bottom right-hand corner of the website, there's a chat bubble. You can, if you have an issue and you want to talk to me right now, pop in a message in that bubble and I'll get back to you. It'll pop me a message right on my phone and I can chat with you live right there.
Okay, so what you're telling me is it's never too late.
No, it's never too late. Look at me, 50 years old, started my business, was working for the man, was working. I decided to start my own business. I start building legacy. And that's what we're talking about. That's what we want to do. So for those of you listening in, I want to thank you so much for being a part of this day. Jonathan, man, it's so good to have you in the studio here. It's so good to have you recording with me. You're coming back because there's some more stuff we're going to talk about, I know. All right. But and again, I want to reiterate evanslegacyfinancial.com. Email me, start a chat, do whatever you need to do. But again, just don't ever forget that it's never too late to build or start building your legacy. For now, and until the next time, have a blessed day.